Oh, nu måste säga hej. This is my daughter. She just wants to say hey.
Hi.
Watch the videos with me sometimes.
Aw, nice. Awesome. So after the session is done, the recording will pop up in our little Skype message section. Just make sure you click on it, save it to your computer. That way you have it indefinitely. Okay.
My computer. Okay, we figured that out.
Yep. And if you can't figure it out, just email us and we can walk you through it. Okay. Awesome. So give me a little overview of questions, intentions, things that you want to get to today.
Yes, I will. First of all, I'm so grateful that you had time for chat with me. Okay. Oh, okay. So I feel that I have some blocks.
Okay.
I have a resistance to work, but I work and I work really hard when I work, but I have like a resistance.
Okay.
And then I feel like I have blocks with flowing money.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no belonging really to anything.
Yeah.
I moved like 30, 50, 40 times in my life. Okay. And then I'm curious about cosmic records, of course, and sexual trauma.
Okay.
Like, I watch your videos. And I also, I don't know where it's gone. Oh, here. Nej. Oh, I don't know where it is right now. I had it here. Oh, here. I wrote a book, and I feel I don't want to fly. I don't want. I can't let it go free because I kind of hold on to it because it's a self biography.
Okay. Yep.
And then I have like, if I can post this on my YouTube channel if I want to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the question.
Okay.
And also, what am I most? Like gray, Palladian, or I know I am everything, but what am I most? And what does that affect my life or the way I am?
Absolutely. Beautiful. Okay. And then what is it that you do for a living? Like, what have you done in the past career-wise?
Yes. For the last 7 years, I've been working as a social worker.
Okay.
But I have only worked for the last 5 years. The first 2 years, I worked almost full time.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I only wanted to be home with the children. I didn't fit in. I didn't feel that I fit in this job. But it has been very, I developed a lot when I worked in this work because it mirrors my childhood.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm get chills. So 5 years I worked in social work as a consult. So I only worked for like 4 months. Then I had free time the rest of the year.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, because I felt so strong to be home.
Yep.
Now I kind of changed.
Mm-hmm.
I think my life purpose is to be a social worker because I meet these beautiful children. Oh.
Yeah, of course. Okay. And then do you have a partner? Do you have a husband in your life as well?
Mm-hmm. But it feels like because now when I'm consulting right now, so I work a lot. So it's just usually bye, hello, and good night, and then the next day.
Right. Yep. Okay. And so nowadays you're doing individual consulting work? Or you still work for a company with social work?
Before I worked for like the city, like I don't know the word for it, but now I work independent.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
So, but I'm in. I have a position that I've been offered to go back. So I belong to a group and everything.
Okay.
But we are still talking about what the page So.
Okay. Okay, so you're still negotiating contracts and what the pay should be, but you're planning on going back.
Yeah, to like, belonging.
Okay.
And be open, and I don't have to work so much as I do as a consulting social worker.
And then just one more thing is, how long have you been doing the consulting for on your own?
For 5 years, but only like the first year I worked all year, but then only once a year, because I needed, it was so much happening inside me, mirrors me at work, and I had to stay home to take care of myself after that 3 months or something.
Of course, yeah, okay. All right, let's just take a look at everything here and see what comes up. And yeah, awesome. So all I need from you to get started is your full name. So first, middle, and last, repeated 3 times over. And that just gives me permission to tap into your energy.
Okay, the last name I have now, and not what I was born to.
Whatever you most resonate with.
Okay. Elisabeth Margareta Roxenstierna. Elisabeth Margareta Roxenstierna. Elisabeth Margareta Roxenstierna.
Okay, beautiful. So the first thing that comes to me is your aura, your energy, and it comes to me as a really beautiful soft pink color. This is clearly all about your divine femininity, your compassion, your nurturing, your service to others, your sensitivities, your empathic qualities, your natural healing abilities. I mean, you are definitely made to be a social worker and to give support and to help others. I mean, you're definitely in the right industry. There is a second color in your aura, which is temporary. It's not permanently there, but it's there right now. And I really feel like that stepped in at the beginning of 2020 is this new energy. And it's a purple, like a really dark, deep purple energy. And this is a representation of your Akashic records and your past lifetimes. And the reason why it's coming up now at this time and for the past couple of months is because you're in the middle of a huge change, and making a decision to live your life for yourself more rather than just giving to everyone else. And you've gone through these cycles in your life where you give, 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 give. You're completely drained. Then you have to give back to yourself. It really feels like this is the end of it. It feels like this is the end of the up and down. And now you're finding your neutrality, right? So instead of going really polarized of I give everything to everyone else versus I give everything to myself and having like 1 month on, 1 month off, you can have both simultaneously. And I feel like that's what this new position really has for you, is just the balance. And I know that you feel that too, and that's why you're making that choice. There is something else that comes up with work, and I want to plant the seed for you just to let you know that it's possible. I see you later down the line in a position where you're more of like a leader or a manager, or like you're, instead of working one-on-one with clients and with people, you're working with all of the social workers who are working with the clients. Have you ever thought about that position?
Yes.
Okay.
Today, I think.
No way. Okay, perfect. Good. Good, good, good. So that's possible for you. That's possible. And one thing that you might want to ask the organization that you're going back and forth with a contract with is asking them if there's room to grow. And honestly, I already think that there is in that position, but it's almost like just by asking them that question of like, hey, is there the possibility of growth or movement or fluidity or whatever? Like, I want to move to a different or higher position. Just by even asking that question, you're planting the seed in their mind to say, oh yeah, she would be great in that position, helping all of the younger social workers who don't know what's going on. And that way you can then step into a teacher role as well, of now you're helping the teachers who are teaching the people, but you're teaching teachers, right? And all the lessons that you've learned in your position and in your freelance work and your contractual work, right? As a solo, social worker, you can now give that advice and wisdom to all of these other social workers. So that just feels really, really beautiful. Yeah, it's close. Like, it even feels like in 2021, you'll be stepping into that higher position. And it's going to be very natural of, oh, the woman who was in that position before is now left, and you're going to be the next one, even though you're very, you're kind of back to that company. Yeah, so that's going to be, I just want to plant the seed for you that that's really where I see you going. And that's going to be like so liberating for you, so freeing, because you're not taking on the heaviness of everyone else all the time, so, and you still get to do what you love and what you're good at as well. So yeah, so it's going to be really good. And yeah, and your guides are bringing up your book. Let me ask you, when did you write the book? How long ago did you write it?
I started 2015 and ended 2018.
Okay, and you haven't released it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's take a look here. Okay. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of reasons why energetically you haven't released it. Trust is a big reason why you haven't released it. And also the other thing that your guides brought up here was you don't necessarily have a clear intention of who you want to read the book. And I think that there's fear in you of friends or family members or people who know you reading the book and getting a different side to you, or, you know what I mean, changing their opinion. And so it's kind of like you're in between with this fear of you're not very clear on who should read the book. So that's really all you need. So two things. One is just more trust within yourself, and you're going to be providing the space moving forward, especially in this new work position, to just surrender a little bit more, be more vulnerable, and have more trust overall in yourself. So that's going to be really important. So the trust is key, but you're really working on that, especially in the rest of 2020. But the second piece is, I mean, you could have this piece right now is clear intention, right? So like, based on the contents and the information within the book, who do you think you want to pick up the book and read it? Like, who would be the most ideal person to read your book?
A social worker.
Perfect. Okay, good. Also, it could be, in a more general sense as well, someone who has been sacrificing and giving and on the journey of giving and giving and giving, who also needs to read it and recalibrate their understanding of how much are they giving and sacrificing and how much are they receiving within themselves. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be just, I mean, there's so many light workers on the planet who are all going through the same things that social workers go through as well. So just kind of keeping that in mind. But that's good. I do really feel like the beginning of 2021 is going to be a good time to release it. It's totally up to you, obviously, when it feels right to you. But there's just an energy thing in 2021. It just feels like this new, that's what it is. It's a new cycle that you step into. And it just feels really good. It feels like you're going to have that space and that trust and that empowerment to go ahead and do that. And the intention as well to do that. And for whatever reason, that's going to be a huge closure and completion. It's like you've had the book, it's been complete, you've been sitting on it, and now it's time to release it and really fully step into your power. So that's going to be really good. I really see good things with that. And I also see you getting validation in a lot of ways as well. And I always say this, even about YouTube and getting on YouTube videos. It's like, even if 5 people from all over the world watch your video or read your book, that impacts them. Like, they found that book for a reason. And that's hitting them, you know, where they need it the most. And so just kind of being aware that you're going to all of a sudden get these messages coming in of people reading the book and feeling that resonance with you, and then you feeling validated on your mission and on your purpose as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Okay, let's check out your chakras. Let's see what's going on. Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so the first chakra that comes up here is the throat chakra. Probably no surprise there. You have a really great communication to everyone else. So externally, your communication is really like just on it. Internally, like your thoughts, your communication is way too overactive. Your thoughts are always just going all the time, and it's always about everything and everyone else other than you, right? So what's for dinner? Am I gonna cook? What's gonna go on? You know, how are the kids? What's, you know, what about that client today? It's just always, you know, the cycle of go, go, go. The other thing that your guides brought up here as well is you're getting better at your internal communication with yourself. You're getting better at checking in with yourself. You're not totally there yet, but you're getting better at this. Especially in 2020, you've really been pushed to figure it out within. But you tend to only really take care of yourself when you're forced to. And that's the way it comes through. It's like, ow, why does my shoulder hurt? Or, oh my goodness, why do I have a headache? Oh yeah, I haven't drank water today. You know, it's like something happens that pushes you into self-care and self-love rather than you being proactive about self-care and self-love and giving back to yourself initially. So that's what you need to do. And I do see that you're going to be stepping into that in this new position, but it's also super important that you do that right now anyway, you know? So when you're at work or when you're working with clients, it's go, 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 give, give, give. Then you're in the home space and the personal space and it's go, 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 give, give, give. You know, and so finding the time, maybe it's an hour to take a bath and write in your journal. Maybe it's taking a walk outside in nature, you know, but finding that time throughout your schedule now and not waiting for, oh, well, the new position is going to clear that up. Or, oh, well, you know, when the kids get older, it's going to clear that up. There's no waiting for that. That has to happen right now. And you need to prove that to yourself and to the universe that you're ready to receive more, you know, more like, you know, more gifts, more opportunities, more abundance. You're ready to receive more because you're giving back to yourself. And it's so funny because that is the perpetual dynamic of always feeling like there is a financial lack. That's where it's coming from. Is the fact that you are always in this perpetual state of giving. Therefore, you are always in a perpetual state of lack, of needing more than what you have, because that's naturally the dynamic that you have going on within yourself personally. I don't know where your husband is with finances and lack and within himself, but you know, when you get 2 partners who both are perpetuating some sort of lack or self-worth issue, that's going to be perpetuated and mirrored into your physical reality. And so I do feel like you taking on this new position is a brand new beginning for you. And also like going back and forth with pay, and really feeling into what you're worth is important. But also what's more important than what you're making is the ability for growth. So as long as there's an ability to grow and move into this a new position with this work, take a bit of a pay cut to have that growth to really expand yourself. And I see that that's what's going to happen is you're going to have the ability in this position to move to this next level. But once again, it's like you're constantly giving. And so therefore your financials is there's always money going out, but it seems like there's always this lack of this financial resource coming in. So I promise you that the second you're like, you know what, I'm going to take the time today, even if it's 10 minutes, to check in with myself, to make sure that I'm okay, to make sure that I'm taken care of. When you start doing that on a daily, basis, you're going to start to receive things in your life as well. Like these beautiful synchronistic miracles are just going to happen more and more often. And you've experienced that before, but it's just kind of getting that going on a consistent basis is going to be important for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. So that's all stuck in the throat chakra. There are a couple of other chakras that are imbalanced here. Just want to see if there's anything else about the throat chakra that your guides can mention here. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about childhood a little bit because it feels like a lot of the throat chakra stuff got started in childhood. And I'll just kind of tell you the dynamic that I picked up on, and then we can fill in the gaps with what really happened. I feel like at a certain point in time, at a certain age, and I actually feel like it was around the age of 10 years old, where there was a switch that happened internally, and you might not even remember that switch, but basically what I see is that there was this moment where you're like, I'm not being heard. I'm trying to speak my truth. No one seems to be listening. So you basically made this internal decision to be the support system, to be the listener, to be the giver to everyone else, because whenever you asked for something that you needed or wanted, it was never there for you. So you basically kind of gave up on asking for what you wanted, whatever it was. Could be like a hug, right? Or validation, or pride, right, from your parents or whatever. But you basically collapsed that need, and that's when you kind of built up some of your walls of like, I'm good, don't worry about me, I got this. And also the word that comes through is burden. It's like you have this fear of being a burden for anyone else, so that you decide to be the support system for everyone else, so that you are never that burden. So you have this interesting dynamic. So, and I feel like a lot of chaos as well in childhood. Like, did you have a lot of siblings? Was there a lot of emotions? Like, was there a lot of drama? Like, what was going on in childhood that made you feel like you weren't supported in communicating?
Okay. I grew up with mental ill parents and sexual abuse, and I moved a lot to foster care, back to my parents, foster care, back to my parents, foster care, and so on. So when I was 10, I remember that my grandma came out home to my dad's apartment, and I was there walking around nude, and um, and she just told me to get dressed and go to my old grandma's house that was next door. And I think at that point, they never talked about what happened to me. She just told me to walk out.
Yeah.
And I was around 10 years. That's the first thing that I think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then when did you?
And there's
Yeah,
another thing.
go ahead.
I think I was 10 when I wished for a birthday present, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this also all comes down to your solar plexus chakra as well, and this feeling that you deserve stability, this feeling that you deserve abundance, this feeling that you deserve to receive. All of that got completely squashed in childhood when you were not supported. So let me ask you, when did you finally feel stable for the first time in your life?
I think when I met my husband.
Okay, and how old were you?
Oh, I was 38.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. So you guys are talking about a healing that took place when you met your husband in this lifetime, and I even want to say when you met him again, because you two have been in many lifetimes together. Um, and so finally, it's like, oh my goodness, this person really loves me without conditions. I mean, every aspect of your life has been very conditional. And then of course you put those conditions on yourself as well, even when the conditions aren't being put on you from anyone else. There was also another huge healing that happened when you had your kids. So how many kids do you have? Two?
2.
Yep. Okay. And so there was this healing of completing the cycle of your own childhood. That's what the healing was that took place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but still, you still tend to perpetuate the same cycles and the same programming, which is give, 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 and then having that lack within yourself and feeling bad about receiving anything in return. So you're the type of person that if a neighbor came over and said, oh, I just baked all these beautiful muffins, here you go, here are these muffins, and you're like, oh, okay, wait 1 second, I have a gift for you too, and you had to scramble to give them something back because you feel so bad about receiving without giving anything in return, because you don't feel good enough to receive, because you've never really received other than meeting your husband and having your kids and having all that joy. But you haven't really been able to receive, for the majority of your life. The other thing that comes up here as well is the call that you had, the pull and the push that you had to be with your kids more often, and let go of your job a little bit, is because you needed that time, and you still need that time to heal and to be very present with your children. And once again, I'll tell you that um, it should never be, and it never is, a lack in your external world. It is always a lack within yourself first that will perpetuate that external lack. Okay. So just being aware that if that's the case, if you're the only one creating that lack, if anything it is that you guys are lacking, then you can flip that around and be wildly abundant moving forward as well. And that's why I think that the book shouldn't be released until 2021, because you need to learn how to receive. You need to learn how to step into your abundance before you before you release the book. And then maybe that is a perpetual state of abundance for you. And that does reach the right people and help the right people along the way. Okay. Yeah. Also, I want to say, so solar plexus, you've really been working on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some weird health things going on in your stomach area. So like acid reflux or indigestion, or like lack of appetite, over appetite, issues digesting food, reactions to food, nausea, anxiety, right? I mean, it's all kind of in that area, but it's because you're working on that area. So even just having a bout of anxiety or a bout of nausea is a good indication that you're turning this chakra around. Just kind of being aware of that. Same thing with the lower abdominal area and the sacral chakra. Lots of stuff going on there. Give me a little dynamic right now. Are your parents just completely out of your life? Like, what's the dynamic with your family?
Oh, they died. My mother died just before I met my husband, and my father died like I think like 6 years something before that.
Okay. And then do you feel like you were able to complete any of those energies before they passed?
Not to my father, but
Okay.
I talked to my mother for the last year, and somehow we.
Okay. Good, good. At least neutralize that. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's just kind of dive into some of these blocks within past lifetimes. And I do want to tell you that just by talking about these things in these past lifetimes, we're instantly clearing the energy and healing that trauma that's been sitting there. Okay. So it's actually a deep, deep soul healing that we go through just by talking about the past lives. Okay. Um, so, and then after we go into the past lifetimes, let's talk about homework. So, tangible things that you can do to apply to your life to just really rebalance. I mean, you've done a lot of work, you've gotten yourself here, which is awesome, very impressive. Now it's time to do the final last bit before you step into that abundance and that thriving and that all that success. Okay, what is your father's first name?
Lars Börje.
Okay, one second.
I think I'm gonna.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, so there is a very traumatic past lifetime
Mhm.
that we have to talk about. Um, and I honestly want to say that your father was the same energy, so same soul in that past lifetime as this lifetime. And your mother was the same soul as well in that past lifetime as this lifetime. I'll kind of tell you what happened. So this was back in, I want to say probably 13th or 14th century, so kind of dark ages, medieval era. This was definitely in Europe somewhere, potentially England, but kind of on the outskirts. Like it wasn't in a big city. Like you grew up in a very small village. And Yeah, and your father was a hardworking guy, but he drank way too much alcohol and got very abusive and aggressive with your mom. You were the only child, which was really unheard of at the time because there was no contraceptive. So it was like your mother and your father couldn't have another child for whatever reason, probably because of the energy and the issues between them. And so the more and more your mother and father fought, the more separated and distant they became. And you were the one who was in between, just kind of holding space for the two of them. And it was always about them. They were both very kind of narcissist personalities of they didn't, it was like you were always an afterthought sort of thing. And at a certain point in time, with that distance between your father started to abuse you sexually. And you told your mom, and she did nothing about it. And she basically said just to keep your mouth shut, and she just wasn't supportive at all. And I think the reason why is because your dad was the one supporting financially the family. So she didn't want to lose that dynamic. And so that went on. I mean, it probably started around the age of 6. I went on for quite a while. At around the age of 12, obviously after you had your menstrual cycle, you ended up getting pregnant from your father, which was also very traumatic for you. I mean, you didn't even really know what was going on. And so when this happened and you told your mom that something was going on and she found out that you were pregnant, she basically lost it and went into this crazy jealous rage. That's what it was. She didn't feel compassion for you as a child, as her daughter. She felt jealous that you were able to have a child, that she wasn't able to have another child. She felt jealous, like you were the other woman in your with your father, which was absolutely insane. And so you felt like you did something wrong, even though you didn't do anything wrong. And so your mom, she hit you pretty hard when she found out, and you just felt so bad about it. Like you blamed yourself. She blamed you. You blamed yourself. And your mom's like, how could you do this to us? How could you do this to the family? I mean, it's not like you wanted to be with your father, right? So it was just a very complex, twisted dynamic that was going on. Eventually, 9 months later, you had the child, a very healthy, beautiful child, a son, which is something that your father always wanted. And you loved him so much, and there was just this bond that you had with this child. Once again, this completion of let me raise you in a different way. And then your mother kicked you out after you had the child. She said, now get out of the house, because she didn't want you around your father anymore. And so you wanted to take your baby, but your mom basically took your baby from you and kicked you out, and you wouldn't be able to support yourself and a child, on the streets either. And so you went to the big city and you were homeless there when you were in the big city. And people would give you food and bread and whatever they had, but most of the time you didn't end up eating. And the reason why is because you were sick to your stomach about what happened, about if your son is okay, if he's experiencing the same sort of dynamics and abuse that you experienced. And then also, at the same time, you felt like you did something so wrong that you didn't even deserve to live anymore. So you wouldn't even receive or take what people were giving you, whether it be money or food. So you were just kind of, you had a blanket, you would lay on the blanket out on the streets. And eventually, not too long after you left, maybe about 3 weeks after you left, you ended up passing away and dying of starvation in that lifetime because you were so down on yourself that you didn't even believe that you were good enough or deserved enough to eat, to just survive. And you blamed yourself as well for the dynamics at home and for leaving your son. And that really has a heavy, heavy guilt on you. And I think that coming from that child sex trafficking video that I did, I mean, that's probably some of the guilt that you felt of leaving your son behind in that dynamic, because after you left him, you had nothing else to live for, you know, and you felt like you weren't good enough to even live, and that everything you did was always wrong. And, you know, that created that dynamic, which really affected you. And especially like passing away, because you weren't eating, also creates some food dynamics as well. Like, I don't know what your relationship is with food, but that can definitely create some of those dynamics. But it creates a lot of trauma and a lot of karmic debt when you pass away in that way, and just kind of give up on life as well. Let's just see what kind of lesson you were learning with your family in that lifetime, because it was a very traumatic life. And then also what kind of lessons you're learning in this lifetime as well with your family and childhood. So 1 second. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. So obviously a lot of things come up here, like support and trust and empowerment, you know, all come up with that lifetime and this lifetime. There's something even more intrinsic and deeper here, which is an identity that you have created around yourself with respect to being the person who is always giving to other people. So you've created this identity of my value, my self-worth is only indicative of how much I am able to give to others. And even in that past lifetime that was so traumatic, the only thing, the only praise, the only respect, the only gratitude your parents ever gave you in that lifetime was because you gave them a son. You gave them something. That's the only respect and value that you ever had, was giving something. And so you have now created, same thing in this lifetime, this dynamic of I am only good for giving. That's your value system on yourself. So when you give more, right, in this lifetime, when you give more to other people, you feel better about yourself because that's your value system. When, if you were to take a whole day to just chill out on the couch and watch a bunch of TV, right, you would feel awful for probably weeks and hold that against yourself because you didn't do anything, you didn't give to anyone, right? And so once again, this paradigm, this identity, this label, this attachment that you have on being in service to others, is keeping you small. It's keeping you limited. It's keeping you confined to just what you're here to give rather than what you're here to accept and receive. So I want you to create a new identity for yourself, okay? And in every moment, as a matter of fact, I want you to create an identity from moment to moment, right? So, and I've said this in videos, but I want you to be very clear, conscious, and cognizant of it. And even at the beginning of the day, I want you to be very clear about what identity or who am I going to be in this moment, right? Who am I going to be today? Well, I'm going to be someone who has a balance between giving and receiving. Then your whole day is based on the balance between giving and receiving. Or in this moment, I'm a sweater wearer because I'm wearing a sweater, you know, or in this moment, I'm a coffee drinker because I'm drinking coffee. But in the next moment, I could be a tea drinker because I'm drinking tea, right? So I want you to take yourself away from the identity that is associated with giving and service to others. And that's a part of your soul that has been missing. I don't want to say missing because it's not. It's never left you. But there's been this void within you since the dawning of your time here on this planet. And you've been filling that void. I mean, that's just one lifetime out of many where you've been in service to others and giving more than what you're receiving back, and always being drained and always being in lack because of that. And the reason why is because your original contract signed up for this planet is to be in service to humanity. Whatever it is, if they need a nurse, I'm going to be a nurse. If they need a social worker, I'm going to be a social worker. If they just need a really good parent with a bunch of kids, I'm going to be a really good parent, and I'm going to dedicate myself to that, right? But it's always in, where do I need to be? What does humanity need, right? Rather than really focusing on yourself. So I always say that your biggest struggle, your biggest struggle is always your biggest superpower. Your biggest struggle is empowerment and giving back to yourself. And so your biggest superpower is helping other people learn how to empower themselves and give back and have that balance, right? So it's always going to be a challenge to you until you overcome that challenge and you start teaching about it. And once again, that's really what I see for you moving forward. I see you moving into this teacher role, which is going to be really healing for you. Let's just see what other homework they have for you, and then maybe let's talk about cosmic identity and who you really are, and maybe we can introduce you to who you were before you came to this planet. So just one second. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, so two major things that come through here, three things. First one is huge. It's check-ins, daily check-ins with yourself. You need to check in with your human at a physical level and an emotional level. So, hey, Elizabeth, how are you doing? Do you need more water? Do you need a nap? Do you need more food? Like, where are you at physically? Okay. And then emotionally, hey, Elizabeth, how's it going? How are you feeling today? I'm feeling kind of shitty. Oh, why is that? You know, I don't know. I had a terrible client and I just can't help them more, and whatever it may be. But talking that out to yourself, providing space for yourself for both of that, the physical and the emotional, is going to be huge for supporting yourself and trusting yourself. Okay. So that's going to be huge. And then they also mentioned like, more communication stuff. So anytime you get aches and pains in the back of your neck, or headaches in the back of your head, or jaw issues, teeth issues, clearing your throat, coughing, sore throats, all of that, whenever that stuff comes up, you know that it's a throat chakra issue, and you need to ask yourself, what am I not saying, and to who, right? What am I not saying, and who am I not saying it to? Okay, so being very aware of that. And then the third thing that your guides want you to do more often, especially in the next 6 months of the rest of 2020, is doing more things for you more often. So more self-love practices, more inner child practices, more, spiritual practices, but they don't care what it is, just doing like action, doing physical things more for you, not because of an outcome. Like if you were like, I'm going to work out every day to get healthy and skinny, it's like, don't do that, right? Do something for yourself just to do it for yourself with no perceivable outcome. Okay, so writing a list down of all of the things that you could do: go for a walk, cook your favorite meal, not the kids' favorite meal, writing in your journal, taking a bath, like those are all things that you can do for you, okay, that are going to excite you. So that's going to be really good. Yeah, okay, so I do want to take a look at contracts, like Earthbound contracts, and then also your cosmic connections. Was there anything else that we didn't get to that you wanted to ask about?
I don't know, no belonging.
Yeah, okay, that's going to be the cosmic stuff. It's not feeling like you belong.
Yeah, can you tell me my guides' names?
Yeah,
And then,
yep,
and then
I can bring up some of the most important ones here. So 1 second. Okay. So you have one guide here who is an interdimensional being, a very large Anunnaki being, divine, very divine masculine energy, but brother. He's a brother of yours. And his name came through as Ryon, Ryon. Yeah, Ryon. And he has such a protection energy around you. Like all he wants to do is just make sure that you're safe and you're protected and you're taken care of and you're provided for. Like, and it's almost like you have a lot of divine feminine energy and a lot of divine feminine guides around you. So he's really important to call upon. So you can call upon Ryan by saying his name 3 times over to bring his energy in. And yeah, and just to feel more safe and protected. So you need that divine masculine energy in your life, just like your husband, to kind of bring a little bit of that protection and safety around. I did pick up on your cosmic lifetime right before you came to planet Earth. You can call upon yourself as this cosmic identity as well, because you are one of your best, your best support systems and your best spirit guides is just you as a different interdimensional being. And this is an angel. I mean, no surprise here. You have so much angelic frequency in you. You were an angel, a very high dimensional angel. I want to say 11th dimensional angel. So the angelic numbers are typically 7 and 11. So you were 11th dimensional angel, female, and you heard about planet Earth and you observed planet Earth for a little while before you decided to come here. And you had this overwhelming sense of compassion for human beings and the fact that they're controlled and suppressed and fear-based and obligated and just all the things. You're just like, they need so much help. That's what I want to do. I want to go down there and I want to help them, right? Which is so beautiful that you made that decision, that choice. But the problem is that when you were that 11th dimensional angel, you were so clearly connected to source that you could do healings on entire populations, on entire civilizations, and never get drained. So you basically decided to incarnate as a human here on this planet, and you just assumed that you had the full connection to source energy, that you would never get drained. And all of a sudden you started dying off really early. And you're like, why do I keep dying so early? Like, I thought I was supposed to, you know, and your guides would say you're giving way too much of yourself and you're draining your life force energy, right? And so that's a huge lesson that you've had to learn is the limitations within yourself and how to recoup the vibration and the energy that you lose in your mission, in what you do, right? And the balance with that. Let's see if I can get a name for you as this angel. 1 second. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, great. So the name comes through here. It's translated from light language, just like Ryan was. And the name comes through as Izza, I-S-S. No, it's Izzy. Issi. That's what it came through as, Izzy, which is cute because, you know, Lizzie and Elizabeth, you know, it's just kind of cute that that comes through. Issi, Izzy. And oh, yeah, they were also saying too that as that 11th dimensional and angel, you were also very connected to all of the archangels. You might have been an archangel as well, but the Archangel Uriel really came through here as like a really good friend or a connection, like someone that you had a deep connection with, maybe like a sister vibe energy. But check out Archangel Uriel and see what kind of resonance comes through with that connection. Yeah, super interesting. Okay, let's see if there's maybe one more spirit guide and any last messages that your guides have here for you. Mhm. Okay. Okay. So you have a lot of ancestral and familial spirit guides around you as well. So a lot of human guides around you, which is really beautiful. No one in particular came up, but there was just a lot of flashes of a lot of faces and people who really did love you coming from your family, who are on the other side, who are looking out for you and taking care of you as well. There's one more guide that comes through, and this is a male. This is actually a father from an interdimensional lifetime when you lived within the Pleiades. So you lived within the Pleiades on the planets of the Pleiades. So you're Palladian. And this is a Palladian father, and he just comes through as just so soft, which is so nice. Once again, this divine masculine energy that's just so loving and compassionate and soft and nurturing. And it's like he's got this like twinkle in his eye for you. And he said that you are welcome to come back home. That's what he's calling it, the Pleiades home, anytime you want. Obviously not in this lifetime, but in the next life, you're welcome to come back. Like he's just fully accepting you with open arms. He did give me his name as well, and it's Mika, spelt Meka, Mika. It could be Meika as well, but just you can play around with it. So Mika, you can call upon him anytime for just feeling that love and feeling that healing that he has for you as well. And that's going to be really good. So, and I think that that's going to heal some of the father wounds and the trauma there as well. Overall, you are exactly where you need to be. You're on your path. You're going in the right direction. You've planted all of the right seeds. You've got brand new opportunities coming your way. So everything is completely aligned for you to be able to move forward and really expand and finally feel free and safe and supported and abundant being on this planet. It's finally time for you to start receiving everything that you've ever given out. So just being aware that that's coming to you. You just have to believe and trust that you deserve that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have, did you say Archangel Ariel?
Uriel, spelt with a U.
Oh, Ariel for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also have one question. Oh, it's so emotional. I just want to know that my son is good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, yeah. Let's take a look here. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yeah. The energy, the vibration, the soul of your son in that past lifetime was reincarnated as your oldest child in this lifetime. And that's the completion that you felt when you brought them in this lifetime, is finally you get them back. Finally, you can be there for them. And you might have an extra protection energy that you feel around your oldest, of this fear of like, is there something going to happen to them? If they go away, are they going to come back? Like, you might feel that, but you don't have to feel that anymore. You know, you and your kids are meant to be safe and protected and secure in this lifetime. And that soul needed to come back in this lifetime for that completion. You needed to feel that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's so amazing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and your guides are so proud of you. I mean, you've been through so much, but you're here. And finally, they're just saying, come on, Elizabeth, it's time to start receiving. Come on, it's time to start living your best life. And you are, but you've been really settling for this is okay. This is good. This is better than it ever was before. But now it's time to step it up again, okay? And really reach to the fullest potential of how you could be living life and thriving. All right.
Okay.
Awesome. Beautiful. Have a great rest of your day or night. And it was so lovely connecting with you. So keep up the good work. Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Well, bye for now.
Bye.